lost a lot of free throws that would have won us the game. It's okay though. I love you, Caitlin, so much. I would die for you. I love you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Man, what did we just witness? Because I don't even know where to begin with this one. The Indiana Fever had this game completely under control. They were dominating the Las Vegas Aces. They were playing faster, they were more aggressive, and honestly, the Aces looked like they had no answers. Indiana jumped out to a massive 42-22 lead, and at that moment, it looked like this game was over. But then, everything completely collapsed. Somehow, some way, the Fever allowed the Las Vegas Aces to go on a historic comeback run. Jackie Young completely flipped the game around. A 17-0 personal run from Jackie Young changed the entire momentum. Then, the Aces followed it up with a 24-0 run as a team. And the biggest question is, how does that happen? How does a team with a 20-point lead suddenly look lost? How does a team go from controlling every possession to not knowing what to do on offense? And where were the adjustments? Where were the timeouts? Where was the response from the coaching staff? Because this was not just a loss. This was a complete collapse. The Indiana Fever had the game in their hands and they let it slip away. This was an embarrassing performance, especially because the Aces were not playing some unstoppable basketball. Indiana beat themselves. They had multiple chances to close this game out and they failed when it mattered most. Now, let's talk about Caitlin Clark. First of all, let's be clear. Caitlin Clark is one of the best players in this league. She has proven she can perform under pressure, and nobody should be questioning her talent because of one bad night. Superstars have bad games. Michael Jordan had bad games. Kobe Bryant had bad games. Allen LeBron, Stephen Curry, Allen Iverson. Every great player in basketball history has struggled at times. That's part of being human. But what separates great players is what happens in the biggest moments. And tonight, Caitlin Clark had opportunities to win this game. She had some great moments. She hit big shots in the fourth quarter. She attacked the basket. She gave Indiana chances to take control again. Earlier in the game, she was creating for everyone. She had 8 assists before halftime and looked like she was controlling the offense. But the final moments are what everyone will remember. At the free throw line late in the fourth quarter, Caitlin Clark had a chance to put Indiana in a better position. 2 free throws, 2 opportunities, and she missed both. That is a tough moment. There is no way around it. But we also have to keep the same energy for everyone. We cannot make excuses for Caitlin, because she does not need excuses. She is good enough to be held accountable. A bad shooting night happens. 7 for 22 shooting and 2 for 10 from 3 is something that can happen, but missed opportunities late, turnovers, and mistakes in clutch situations are the things that decide games. Then, overtime happened. Caitlin Clark had A'ja Wilson defending her, a point guard with a big matchup advantage. That is usually the situation where you expect Caitlin to create something. But the possession ended with a turnover. A'ja Wilson made the defensive play, and yes, there was contact afterward, but the turnover had already happened. Those are the moments where championship-level players have to make the right decision, and Caitlin knows that. Now, was Caitlin Clark the only reason Indiana lost? Absolutely not. There was plenty of blame to go around. Aaliyah Boston had a solid game for stretches, but the offensive strategy was questionable. Too often, she was standing around the perimeter instead of putting pressure on A'ja Wilson inside, and that played right into the Aces' hands. A'ja Wilson is an incredible player, but she becomes even more dangerous when she gets confidence and avoids foul trouble. Indiana needed to attack her physically. They needed to force her into difficult defensive situations. Instead, they allowed her to stay comfortable. And that comes back to coaching. Stephanie White has to answer some serious questions after this game. Because when the Fever were rolling, everything looked great. They were playing fast, they were moving the ball, they were attacking. But once things got difficult, the offense became predictable. The strategy became simple. Give the ball to Kelsey Mitchell and hope she creates something. That cannot be the only answer. Kelsey Mitchell had a strong scoring night. She finished with 28 points and shot efficiently, but defensively, there were major problems. When Lexi Hull was guarding Jackie Young, Jackie was struggling. She had almost no impact during that stretch. Then, Stephanie White made the adjustment to move Kelsey Mitchell onto her, and immediately, Jackie Young exploded. That changed everything. Jackie Young started attacking, hitting shots, and controlling the game. You have to wonder why Lexi Hull was removed when she was doing such a good job defensively. That decision completely changed the momentum, and this is where coaching matters. Great coaches recognize what is working and stick with it. Now, credit has to go to Chelsea Gray. I have criticized her before, but when the Aces needed big shots, she delivered. She hit the shot to send the game into overtime, then she hit another huge shot to win it. That is what veteran players do. They step up when the pressure is at its highest. Asia Wilson also made the plays she needed to make. She finished with 26 points, and although she struggled from the field, she was dominant when she got to the free throw line late. That is the difference. When the game mattered, the Aces made winning plays. The Indiana Fever did not. NaLyssa Smith deserves credit as well. She played hard and gave Indiana energy. She finished with 14 points and 9 rebounds and was one of the brighter spots. But overall, the Fever bench production was not enough. Sophie Cunningham only had 2 points in 28 minutes. Michaela Timpson played with effort and grabbed 11 rebounds, but Indiana needed more offensive help. You cannot waste a 20-point lead against a championship-caliber team. This was an epic collapse, a complete meltdown, a game that Indiana Fever should have won. The frustrating part is that even with mistakes, even with poor shooting, even with turnovers, they still had multiple chances to finish the job. That is what makes this loss hurt. Caitlin Clark will bounce back. Great players always do. She will have another big performance. She will remind everyone why she is one of the faces of basketball. But tonight was a disaster. This was missed free throws, this was turnovers, this was questionable coaching decisions. This was a team failure. The Indiana Fever have to learn from this, because if they want to compete with teams like the Aces, they cannot afford these types of collapses. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Was this more about Caitlin Clark's mistakes, Stephanie White's coaching decisions, or the entire team failing to close the game? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.
Caitlin, so many plays decide a game like that. They obviously had 2 buzzer beaters, but what goes through your head after 2 free throws like that at the end of regulation?
Yeah, obviously this can't happen. Those are free throws I usually make, and it's certainly frustrating, Obviously, one of them gives us a 2-possession lead, and kind of cost my team that for sure, so that's on me.
You guys were up 20 in the first half. What did you feel like flipped from that moment until even the end of regulation that got them back into it?
I think we just became flat. I think it was like 2:30 left or 3 minutes left in that second quarter, and they called timeout, and we were playing with great pace, and then it led to some turnovers for us and like easy transition buckets for them. That's kind of where they thrive, and I felt like that kind of got them going, got them some momentum, and that was probably the difference right there. They let them back in the game, but they're a talented team. They were never going to just go away. That was never going to be the case, but I mean, for us, like, we got to find ways to be a little bit better. Obviously, I didn't know we scored 9 points in the third quarter, but we still battled, we still fought, and we put ourselves in position to win the game. And then, honestly, it was me that made costly errors for us. So that's on me to help us win. That's my job. That's what I get paid to do.
Aaliyah, when the offense was struggling in the second half defensively, you guys were getting the stops and kind of keeping yourselves in the game on that end. What do you think of what you guys were able to do defensively?
Yeah, I thought we were pretty focused. We knew that for us, even if our shots didn't go in, we had to lock in. I honestly thought we did a pretty good job of that. We tried to make them shoot tough 2s, tough 3s. I think we could have did a better job cleaning up the boards. I don't think they got as many points as they probably could have off their second chance opportunities. So for us, it's just making sure that we give them one shot.
Yeah, Aaliyah, you got that deflection at the end of regulation that kind of led to that little chaotic moment. Just what was your perspective of everything that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I got a hand on it, but then Jackie had it. And I think for me, like, I wasn't sure if she was gonna force the shot. And I think in that situation, you don't want to foul in a position like that and give them an opportunity to call a foul on the three. So I just tried to crowd her space. She was able to get it out to Chelsea, and then obviously Chelsea hit that first buzzer beater. But I mean, yeah, I feel like that was pretty much just it.
Aaliyah, you're so familiar with Asia, so in overtime she's going up a little bit. If you could just describe to us what does she like to defend, especially when she's up.
Yeah, honestly, I think we held her pretty good. I mean, yeah, I think what it's just interesting to know. I mean, obviously she's a superstar, and with she's just won MVPs, like, you know, she's gonna score baskets. They came in overtime, but I think honestly they were jumpers. They weren't just getting layups, and so pretty happy with the way that we defended her. I mean, we'll live with contested twos, and then we just take the ball out and push.
In and out the quarter, Caitlin, when defenses are designed to take away their first option, what tells you to, or how do you differentiate between being a facilitator and a scorer?
I think you just take what the game gives you. I think you just try to read it. I thought they kind of switched Jackie on and off of me and Kelsey. She's their best perimeter defender, so we both saw her a good amount. Obviously, I wasn't able to facilitate too much in the second half, but also, like, we didn't shoot the ball very well overall, so you know, that was a little bit of a challenge at times, but also our turnovers just need to take care of the ball a little bit better as well. And for myself, you just like read the game. They're doing a lot of switching, so you try to exploit mismatches when you can, but just take what the defense gives you, and every team's going to guard you differently, so you kind of got to read through the first quarter and then decide from there.
Anything else?